Hey there, and welcome to the Windsor Star News Cafe. I'm Kristy.
And I'm Don McArthur. Craziness just in the near west side this morning. Shots were fired at a luxury condominium on Riverside Drive.
Yeah, I was scrambling as soon as I came into work today. I heard that there were shots fired. I called police, and they weren't giving up too much information, but it later came out that 2 shots were fired at the Portofino condominiums on Riverside Drive West, kind of near the Elm area. They're still on scene at this point right now. There was no one home at the time, or if there was, they're gone now. So the police are currently scanning the area right now, looking for evidence, looking to find the owners of the apartment to speak with them. They haven't even been able to talk to them yet. So kind of interesting. It's kind of the second drive-by or shooting that's happened within the last week. There was the other one that happened not too long ago as well.
Yeah, like a lot of people are talking about it on Twitter. It's craziness. People are saying, "What are we turning into Detroit?" This sort of thing. It's not that bad yet. But I drove by it this morning on my way into work, and really, they had a police tape around. It looked like about a football field. Yep. And I'm like, "Man, what's going on?" And then I saw Windstar Janice was there taking pictures. That's and if you look at it, you see there's bullet holes, boom, right in this lobby window. So certainly some startled residents at the Portofino condos on Riverside Drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Other residents who are startled for other reasons, Ward 10 residents. Apparently, there's a builder who's kind of gone rogue. He's building drainage in these culverts and driveways, access points to this piece of property without the permission of the city.
Yeah, I mean, he was building sort of a solar installation, the owner of like sort of 5 vacant lots. Yep. And I guess he needed a way to access, this thing, so he was using a private road. He got told to stop using the private road, so he said, okay, Labor Day weekend, I'm going to build my own. We have pictures of it on the website. He was not messing around. I mean, trees were cut down. Yeah. Drainage, sort of areas were covered over with gravel. And this guy built a road. Neighbors, they called Al Magny. He checks his inbox on weekends.
That's right.
You never know who's calling. And he was out there on the scene. And Mario Sonego, a city engineer, he went out last night. They were ready to call the police. They cracked down here.
Well, yeah, they're saying this is very serious, that they were not contacted at all, that they will contact the police if they had to. But yeah, Doug Schmidt was out there, last night with some of the residents and Al Magny, and he actually ran into the property owner.
Wasn't very happy to see us.
Had some terse words for them. Al Hassan, his name is Hanan Al Hassan. He's actually been given until 4 p.m. today to reverse everything that he's done. So he has to pull out that gravel driveway,
take down a chain link fence?
Take down a chain link fence that he had thrown up on the property without permission. So yeah, we'll see where it goes from there, but today at 4 is the deadline.
Yeah, exactly. Stay tuned. Mario Sonego breathing fire on this one, and also breathing fire on the other one. We were talking about yesterday. He was involved. This is the raw sewage situation in where was that again? That was in Ward 1.
Southwood Lakes.
Ward, in Southwood Lakes.
Yep.
16 hours, this stuff comes gurgling up from the sinks and toilets in the basement. We told you about it yesterday. It sort of said there was a lot of passing of the buck going on. Was it on their property? Was it on city property? 16 hours, nothing was done. City came up pretty forcefully and said, hey, not our problem.
Well, yeah, he's still passing the buck, and he's trying to make it sound like the city employees are actually the good guy at the end of all this. That at the end of the day, they just kind of felt bad for the homeowners, and what they did, they said that where this blockage was technically on their property, that homeowners are responsible for the connections from the home to the main line, and that this blockage was still on their property. So, out of the goodness of their heart, the city employees felt bad, and they actually worked towards the house to clear it up.
Yeah, but the one thing that's dodgy there, they said they asked the private plumber that was hired by John and Sue Recker. He said, I already tried this eel, to clear the clog, and the city said, oh, well, hey, we took his word for it, and we didn't investigate any further. Maybe you should have, 16 hours, it's gurgling up, I don't know, but sort of the undercurrent to this is that the records say they're very, very displeased with the attitude, and again, this is just, he said, she said, with the attitude displayed by city workers who said they were actually sort of chuckling and making light of the situation as stuff was getting ruined, including a deceased mother's wedding dress in the basement of their home.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an awful time for these homeowners, but honestly, I can kind of agree, and I can relate to these city employees, because how often have we gone to a fire? We're going to these scenes, like
gallows humor.
The worst day of people's lives. We go to accidents, and it's tough. It is really tough, and it's an awful time, but it's hard to be somber all the time when people are going through hard things. I guess what I'm saying.
And they could have been laughing about the debacle in Ward 7. There's nothing necessarily that says they were laughing about about the plight of this family. That's a good point, right? I mean, gallows humor, whatever gets you through the night.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll see how it goes for them. But they're actually the hard at work. They think it might cost up to $20,000, which is kind of the limit of their coverage for their insurance, just to restore the basement, bring it back to its former glory. And they've started. They're hard at work.
Okay, and we mentioned Ward 7, so just got a quick update on that. Sounds like there is going to be a by-election. 2 councillors talked to Dave Waddell yesterday. They're going to reconsider their position. Ron Jones, who says he learned early on that when you make a mistake, fess up. So he did it here and said he's in favor of a by-election now, as is Hillary Payne. So it looks like voters in Ward 7 are going to go to the polls in December.
Yep, excellent.
Yeah, and stay tuned. Rose City Politics, our friends over there, they're promising an opinion poll that they conducted. They're going to release it tonight on their show at 8 o'clock. I guess they interviewed about 500, probably by the phone, I'm not sure, 561 respondents. They gave us a little hint, said it's going to be exciting stuff. I don't know, but it was a Windsor-wide poll on the Ward 7 situation, 8 o'clock, Rose City Politics.
Yeah, they're on CJAM, so make sure you check them out.
Okay, the Iguana, what a tale.
Yeah, so we brought you the story, I think it was back in June.
Father's Day, this thing.
Father's Day, so yeah, a Harrow family, and they ended up losing their iguana.
Carlita?
Carlita, yeah. So they got no idea where she was, and I guess just a few weeks ago, Carlita ended up showing up. She didn't stray too far. Ended up getting out of the house through an open patio door and snuck up underneath. It was kind of a crazy tale how they ended up just finding Carlita.
Yeah, like it's Nettie Thompson in Harrow. She a little bit like Noah, man. She loves animals. Okay,
That's right.
She's got dogs, horses, fish, and a parrot, and of course Carlita or Iggy. The iguana, and I guess the way she found it, she was putting more fish into her 150-gallon aquarium tank in the living room, and she thought, hey, I better brace the floor.
Yeah.
So she went under the house to kind of brace the floor, and sure enough, there in a milk crate was the iguana. We got a great video, Nick Brancasu shot, and some pics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, my name is Nettie, and this is Carlita, or as I like to call her, Iggy, and she's a rescue, and I lost her Father's Day, and luckily I found her. So she's back. She was sick for a while after I found her, but as you can see, she's very healthy and very happy, and she's very spirited. I'm glad I found her because, well, she's maybe exotic, but I like her. Well, she got out, and she was out in the greenery, which is what she likes to eat, but she tried to get back in the house, and she couldn't. There was a vent that she crawled underneath the crawl space, and she was down there for approximately, I figure, 2 weeks, and it almost killed her. I found her, luckily. She was 1/3 the size she is, so she had lost more than 2/3 of her body mass. She was all skin and bones, and she recuperated, so she's lucky to be alive. I'm glad she made it. And what saved her was the fact that she's a reptile, and her body went into like a stasis, and she almost went into hibernation, but they don't hibernate, but it did save her life.
Okay, and we're back, and look, it's a good thing they found the iguana when they did, because they're cold-blooded creatures, native to Central South America, and they wouldn't survive an autumn in Windsor, or Harrow for that matter.
No, that's very true. They said, fall, it could be lethal for this little cold-blooded character. But also, I guess they did wait a few weeks before they actually came out to the media to say that they found Carlita, just because when they found her, she was about half her body weight. She wasn't in good health, but she's made a full recovery. She's up to her normal weight, and she's looking good, so good story.
Cool. It is. I love it. Okay, and an editorial that had some staying power, it actually was still getting traction yesterday, like a couple of days after it had been published, on the speed limit on Highway 401. So we threw a poll question together and jacked it up on social media because a lot of interest. Speed limit 401.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is really this is an old issue. This is one that I think we've written editorials about before, but
chestnut.
Yeah, right now the state of Michigan is looking at legislation that would look to increase the speed limit to about 80 miles per hour on major highways, or about 129 kilometers, about 130 km. Which is kind of what the editorial is really pushing for. They say instead of ticketing people for going 130, why not just raise the speed limit to that?
Yeah, and it raises sort of an interesting history, I guess you will, that when Highway 401 opened about 50 years ago, the speed limit was actually about 113 kilometers,
Right.
And it was actually artificially lowered to 100 kilometers in the 1970s because of sort of the OPEC crisis, the Arab oil embargo. So as a way to sort of conserve fuel, they had people go at 100, and it's never really adjusted since. But we've all been on Highway 401, man. No one goes 100 kilometers. It's kind of this gray area, like 110, like for fun you go.
Yeah.
Even 120, I think you don't. You
Oh yeah,
don't
no,
have to
absolutely.
worry.
It seems to be the norm. If you stay a little bit under 120, you're usually pretty safe. And like you were saying, like when the 401 was originally built, it was designed to be traveled at that high rate of speed.
Well, and it's better now, right? There's because of the Carnage Alley a couple of years ago when cars were just careering off the road between Windsor and Chatham. There's now rumble strips there, like it's 3 lanes in most places now instead of 2 lanes. I mean, the editorial makes a really good case that the speed limit should be raised. Seatbelts in car, I mean, everything. Cars are sturdier. And even better than our pot poll was the response to this poll.
Yeah, I was going to say the editorial really pushes for it, and so do the voters. We had a ton of votes for this. 83.53% of the voters, which is about 1,347 people voted yes.
Raise the speed limit.
Exactly. 15%, or about 258 people voted no, and only 1%, or about 13 voters, said they weren't sure.
Yeah, those were Windsor City councillors.
They were
sitting
on the fence still?
Sitting on the fence.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, lovely little video. We're going to show you a little clip. Rabbi Jeffrey Abelser of Congregation Bethel. It's Rosh Hashanah, Jewish New Year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's their annual New Year. It begins tonight. And they say it's really a time to apologize to those who've been wrong and make right to God. So we have a video of the rabbi and just kind of explaining one of the main tools and devices that they use throughout the celebration.
I'm holding in my hand the shofar, which is the dominant symbol of the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. It's the call to repentance, it's the call to return to oneself, to one's God, and to Judaism.
Okay, now it begins Wednesday night, Rosh Hashanah. It marks heralds the beginning of year 5774 on the Jewish calendar, and sort of the idea behind it, the rabbi calls it a spiritual alarm clock. It's to sort of start the year with a clean slate and reflect on possible changes in your life, kind of like making a New Year's spiritual cleansing. And I mean, who doesn't need that? I think it's kind of a great holiday, like, you know, start fresh and, you know, prosper.
Oh, absolutely, it's great. So to all our Jewish listeners, I guess typical greeting is Shana Tova Matuka.